Today, I'll be answering the top 10 questions for minimalists according to ChatGPT. What's up, friends? Paul here, and in this video, we're going to be diving into what ChatGPT thinks are the top 10 questions for minimalists. This is an experiment, as you can see. This is different than usual. And I thought it'd be fun if I just answer them on the fly. I didn't really look at these much ahead of time. So we're just going to dive right through them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I only got less than 20 minutes. So here we go. 10 questions, less than 20 minutes. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Okay, so the first question. What are the essential items that I truly need in my life? I think relationships would be one of the first things that comes to mind. I also feel like technology is just so hard to live without. I mean, granted, I don't think it's maybe necessary, but in this day and age, it kind of is for work purposes, for just engaging with other people on the interwebs, like you guys. And by the way, if you want to join the Messy Fam, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Would love to have you in the fam. But essential items, I mean, I guess one way for me to communicate, whether it's like a laptop, a cell phone, I mean, usually I would say a laptop, cell phone, and then those are probably important. As far as like daily items that I would need, a car probably, or a mode of transportation. What else? It's funny how like tech, at least in my head, is like probably one of the top things. But yeah, that might be obviously food and the things to make food. That's essential items. Yeah. I'm sure there's a place to sleep and eat. I guess, that's also important. Hopefully that answers that question. I'm sure I'm missing something, so please forgive me if I miss some essential items. Clothing, I guess, and by the way, I'm trying to experiment. If you'll notice, probably in the next few episodes that you'll see, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I actually just picked up some very simple shirts off of Amazon, so I'm testing out this idea that I had about living with one type of t-shirt. I still have the other ones. I don't know whether I'm going to get rid of them completely, or use them as like work t-shirts. Maybe I'll pare them down just to be a true minimalist here. But yeah, so I'm trying this experiment out. Okay. Number 2, how can I simplify my living space to make it more functional and less cluttered? I like this question. I would say start by getting rid of anything. Like, think about the purpose of the room. And there's a book by Joshua Becker. Actually, I think I have it on my shelf somewhere. I own this book. It's about like making, I'll try to leave a link in the description about this book, but he talks about how like you want to think about the function of the room when deciding what things should stay in the room and what things can be removed. Consider like, do you really need like 10,000 pieces of art or little knickknacks or doodads? The other thing is keeping your surfaces clean. That's super important. Like, we try to keep our counter clean. Right now, our dishwasher decided like it was getting really messy and stuff. So we decided to stop using it for a couple of days just to clean it out. But right now there's our like counters are strewn with dishes. It's amazing to see what that looks like when you have, maybe that should be one of my essential items, is a dishwasher, because I can't tell you, a dishwasher is very useful. It's like those practical things that you have on a daily basis that you don't realize what it does for you until it's gone or stops working. So I would say, like, consider the room and what is essential to be out. Like, for example, in our kitchen, we try to keep most appliances, like a tea kettle, up and away in a cabinet. And one of the things that my wife did recently, which was brilliant, is she tries to keep those things that you use in a particular spot near the place that you typically use it. So like if there's a spot that we typically use to make tea, then the easy access, like one of the upper cabinets, we'll just pick down the tea kettle, and then the teas are right there as well. So, and it makes it a lot easier for you to make tea. That way the room is oriented, like made in a way that it's very easy to access those things that are important. The same thing goes for your desk. Have those things within reach that you need, and then everything else, just make it disappear if possible. Okay. Hopefully that answered that question. Number 3, moving right along. What are some ways I can reduce my reliance on material possessions? Reduce my reliance on material possessions. I think honestly, one of my suggestions would be to actually start with your technology use. And this was something that somebody recommended to me, was to look at like how much screen time you currently have. And I know this is not really a material possession, but it's something that really can possess a lot of your time, whether you like it or not. But take a good look at how much time you're spending on your phone. It might shock you. I think on average, people spend about 5 hours. So that might give you a little bit of a reference. If you look at your time and it's about that, that's actually somewhat normal, sad to say. And then the number of times you pick up your phone, it's kind of crazy to think that that's somewhat normal. So look at your screen time and see, like, what are the apps that you absolutely need on there? And I would suggest, just try deleting all of your social media, and then maybe slowly reintroduce it, and see what things that you absolutely need to have on your phone that you feel like you benefit from, and it doesn't suck your energy and life from you. But to go back on reliance on material possessions, I actually feel like most people have more of a reliance on tech than material possessions, I would think. But it's also like simple living. Like, think about what your life might look like with less. Do you need, a bunch of one thing that it's like, for example, like for me, like right now I've got probably way too many shirts. Like I could probably downsize the number of shirts that I have, and think about what life might look like if you only had the shirts that you love and use on a regular basis. And so I would do that audit in various, areas of your life. Maybe it's a certain room, a certain place where you can see like where things are at and how you can reduce the clutter. Okay. This one's kind of related. Number 4, how can I prioritize experiences over material possessions? I guess like schedule stuff, like put it on your calendar, and, when you're looking at your budget, how can you put aside money towards experiences and over possessions? Like, look at your spending and like maybe do an audit of like your bills and see like which ones were on experiences, which ones were on, and it doesn't have to be on spending either. You can do a lot of stuff with experiences for free. Go to the park, invite a friend over to your house, do a time audit and do a expense audit. I think that would show a lot of where your time and attention is going. Okay, number 5, what are some strategies for reducing my environmental impact through minimalism? I think by the nature of being a minimalist, you actually have a head start on this, just because if you're not like buying tons of stuff that you don't need, I think that there's going to be less waste. And also, I would say getting rid of stuff in a way that helps other people to benefit. For example, if you're getting rid of your clothes, maybe consider donating them to Goodwill for those that might be able to benefit from them. And, it still has good life. Don't just toss them in the trash if they're perfectly good. If they're holy, then I would say probably toss them in the trash. But if there's still got some life left, consider donating your used items, because somebody might benefit from it, and it could continue some good in the world. Okay, so number 6, how can I simplify my daily routine to save time and reduce stress? Oh man, one app I'm a huge fan of that kind of helps with time management and keeping things realistic is Sun Sama. And I would say that you can take the philosophy behind it. I've actually got like a free 30-day trial that you can just test it out and maybe see the philosophy behind it, because I think that's where like the gold is. It's like understanding that it's not about working more. It's about working on your top priorities in a way that will help you achieve your goals and not become more stressed. So I'll try to leave a link to that in the description. But I would say like coming up with your top, like maybe 3 things that you need to get done in a day, and either time blocking them, or one of the principles in the Sun Sama is like playlist style, where like you organize your day in like kind of a playlist. Like first I'm going to do this, next I'm going to do this and this. So that might be one way to do it. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing, is reducing, like think about your day and like have those like necessities like blocked in, at least to your mind. Is like, I'm going to wake up every day at like 7:30. This is something that we've been experimenting with, is like every day, we want to wake up around 7 or 7:30, and we're going to go to bed at 11:30 p.m. And just having those structured and, aiming for dinner around 5 p.m., let's say, and then getting the kids to bed between 7 and 8 p.m. And then, just having that structure. We're just starting the structure out, and so far it's made a world of difference just having that little bit of organization. So think about that for your life. What are those like non-negotiables? Like if you could, have it so that your day, you take, ownership of the day and the day doesn't own you. Think about that and how you can apply that to every day. Okay. Number 7. What are some ways to cultivate a minimalist mindset and practice mindfulness? Interesting. I like this principle from Dieter Rams. He's actually a designer, but he has this thing called less but better, and he uses it. He's actually got these like 10 principles of design. I think I've done an episode on it, but it's geared towards design. But I think like the idea of less but better is like, reducing like chaos in your life, reducing those things that like want to have your time, but like it might not, 1, be the best use of your time, or 2, it might be a distraction, or 3, you don't need it at all. Like just eliminate it. So I think it's important to realize that what we feel like is essential is often not. I think back to when the pandemic first happened. I think it allowed us to have the clarity of what was really important in our lives, and not necessarily like getting bogged down by like the little stuff that normally would occupy our minds. Anyways, moving right along. I don't have much time left, so we're going to wrap this up quick. Okay. How can I avoid the temptation to constantly acquire more things? Ooh. I think having this sense of satisfaction in your life, like appreciating, like having a gratitude exercise, like where you're grateful for things, and then also being excited about things. This is something that I experimented kind of like with bullet journaling, or just writing out, is like, what are the things that are coming up in the week that I'm excited about? What about this day? Like, what are the things that I'm like, if I get this done, I'll be super excited about that. And just like, it gives you this sense of like excitement, I guess, to your day. And so like just taking, like appreciating the little things of life, I think would be my recommendation. It's not about stuff, because that, there's only like a certain level of like where things will probably increase your happiness, or help with like your overall well-being and health. But then like beyond that, it could actually harm you, because it's taking up space in your life. It's taking up time and energy. I've definitely experienced that, where you buy something, you get something, and then you think it's like this, such a great idea. But then once you actually get it in and like start using it, it actually you start to realize that like it's more of a cost in time and energy to maintain something, or your time or energy would be better spent elsewhere. So something to keep in mind. Okay, so what are some minimalistic approaches to budgeting and financial management? I love the app YNAB. That would be my one recommendation, is to check out the app YNAB. Dave Ramsey, I think, has a very good baby step method for budgeting and like getting on top of your finances. I don't necessarily agree with like all of the things Dave Ramsey says, but like probably 95, like a large percentage of what he says, like it's solid. It's solid. Like if you do those things, like you're going to have security. And I think that's what he does really well, is like help people get a stability and a sense of like, I'm if I keep doing this, I'm going to make progress towards some of the things that I'm looking to do in life. And so that would be my one recommendation. Okay. And number 10, how can minimalism help me focus on what truly matters in life? They left the best one for last, I think. Thank you, ChatGPT, for making this a really interesting episode on the podcast. Okay, so how can minimalism help me focus on what truly matters in life? I think that's the whole point of minimalism, is to reduce like the clutter and to reduce the stress so that you can really remove excess. So your family, your friends, and like the projects that you really prioritize. I think, it comes to the front. Another book that comes to mind is Essentialism, where like one of the imageries that they have in the book is like, it's a circle. And when you're like super focused on one thing, you go like straight in one line super far. But once you have like the circle and you're kind of like the maximalist, you're trying to take all these different directions. You're going in so many different ways that you can only go a short distance off the ground. So I think that's one of the things that minimalism helps clarify, is what things that truly matter, and helps you to take action on it. So yeah, that's it, friends. I think we hit all 10 questions, more or less. Let me know in the comments if you have what your thoughts are on minimalism, and whether it is a big part of your life, or if you're just discovering it now. Would love to hear your story, and maybe there's some resources that you found helpful. Drop them in the comments. And until next time, my friends, simplify your life, be a minimalist, and stay messy as a minimalist. Yeah.